I got a question on YouTube recently from someone who asked, "What does the Bible say about women's clothing? Is it a sin to wear pants? Should we cover our heads? Or should we just dress modestly?" The question of women wearing pants arises from Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 5, which states, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God." Since women did not start wearing pants until about 70 years ago, and before that they wore dresses and only men wore pants, some argue that women wearing pants is a form of cross-dressing and they should stick to wearing dresses. But I'm not convinced, because the sizes and cuts between women's and men's pants are a little different. For example, can you tell which pair of jeans in this picture are designed for women and which pair are designed for men? Obviously, the pair on the left are designed for women because they are made to fit the curve of a woman's hips. Not to mention, in Bible times, neither men nor women wore pants. They both wore clothing that looked very similar. Here is an illustration to give you an example. An article about biblical clothing on Wikipedia adds that while women's garments mostly corresponded to those of men, they wore a shawl, an undertunic. Their clothing was probably longer, had sleeves, included brighter colors, more ornaments, and also may have been of finer material. Also worn by women was a finer linen underdress. So even though their garments were similar, there were still distinctions between what women and men wore. The same is true with pants. There are distinctions between the two, so this is not cross-dressing. What the Bible really demands in terms of dress is modesty. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 9 puts it this way, "I also want the women to dress modestly, with decency and propriety, adorning themselves not with elaborate hairstyles or gold or pearls or expensive clothes." To dress modestly means to dress in a way that is not too revealing and flashy. The main reason for women to dress modestly is to avoid leading men to lust after them. Let's face it, men are sexual beings, and it doesn't take much to get our minds to wander in the wrong direction. Even really tight pants on women can tempt men to have lustful thoughts. The same is true with a short skirt, for those of you who think that skirts are the answer. Skirts can be worse than pants if they're really short. So what can be done to avoid this? First of all, if you're a man and you have a problem with lust as a result of looking at women with tight or skimpy clothing, stop looking at women with tight or skimpy clothing. This worked for Job. He wrote in Job chapter 31 verse 1, "I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman." And if you're a woman, don't wear really tight or skimpy clothing. Be aware that the way you dress can impact a man's relationship with God and even his salvation. So cover up your body parts, please. There are also studies that suggest men objectify women who dress in revealing clothing. What that basically means is that they see you little more than a sexual object, and they also view you as less intelligent. So that is just more reason for women to cover themselves up, out of self-respect. About the issue of women head coverings. Some think that women should cover their heads based on 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 13 through 16, which states, "Judge among yourselves. Is it proper for a woman to pray to God with her head uncovered? Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man has long hair, it is a dishonor to him? But if a woman has long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given to her for a covering. But if anyone seems to be contentious, we have no such custom, nor do the churches of God." Paul was actually addressing a cultural issue relevant to the Corinthians when he wrote this that doesn't apply to us today. In the Corinthian culture, women normally wore a head covering as a symbol of their submission to their husbands, and Paul approved of that practice. He probably saw no reason to condemn that practice because there was nothing biblically wrong with it, and he didn't want to command Corinthian Christians to do something which would unnecessarily cause them to be shunned by their culture. If anyone wants to argue whether this is relevant or not today, verse 16 should put an end to that argument. Paul wrote, "But if anyone seems to be contentious, we have no such custom, nor do the churches of God." In other words, this is not necessary for Christians today. It was just a cultural issue for the Corinthians. Women dressing in pants is not a sin. What is a sin is women who dress in a way that is too revealing, because doing so has a tendency to lead men to lust after them. Not to mention they lose self-respect in the eyes of some men. And wearing a head covering was something that was relevant to the Corinthian culture. But the Bible tells us that is not mandatory for Christians today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out my Bible Questions Answered playlist. I'll leave a link to it in the card on the screen. There, I have some more videos where I answer people's questions about the Bible. If you have any questions of your own which you would like to hear me answer, just leave them in the comment box. I'm trying to make it more of a point to answer more people's questions in the form of video responses. It's something I really enjoy doing, and it gives me an opportunity to search the scriptures deeper as well. Please pray for me and my Christian video ministry, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel because more videos are coming soon. God bless.